A woman being harassed
Tonight we discuss the phenomenon
is something that happens so often.
South Africans have this opinion that harassment there needs to be something physical about it for it to be actual harassment.
hooliganism.
When someone whistles at me, it makes me feel like
An object, and she is the other, and she is there for your sexual pleasure.
standing on the opposite end of the street, scratching his balls and whistling at me. It's offensive behavior.
It's not his place to say I'm sexy. Who is he to say that I'm sexy?
Any change is a good change.
Verbal harassment is, that's just the start to the next step, and it's just as bad as physical harassment. And I don't think any woman should be made to feel uncomfortable in any situation. It's not okay.
If I saw someone walking on the street and I found them attractive, whether it's a man or a woman, I don't think that I would whistle at them and expect them to then feel special.
It's the most degrading experience that you can encounter just for walking down the street.
Quietly walk up to me and say, "You look lovely," or "I think you're beautiful," and turn around and walk away.
Because I see pretty girls all the time. I like women, and I think women are immensely hot and attractive, and especially summer in Cape Town is amazing. And you don't see me walking down the street going like, "Woo, baby!" You know what I mean? Like, who does that?
It's exactly the same as someone walking down the street with some sort of a physical deformity and someone pointing it out to them in a lewd way. It's exactly the same thing.
It makes you a nothing. Not fun.
In any other context, it wouldn't be acceptable. So why is it acceptable when it's a woman walking past and a man whistles at her?
When it happens, whatever, like, I just try and ignore it. Also, because then I hope that it's the quickest way that it'll just go away.
I have one of two responses. I used to ignore,
When I was younger, I used to be like, "Oh, shut up," or say something, and
turn around and go, "What is your problem? What is your problem?" And it makes you feel stupid as well, because now you're yelling at this person in the street.
There's something that feels a bit soul-destroying about getting angry, that feels soul-destroying.
I feel like you need to do something to make them realize that this is not right, it's not fair, it's degrading, you must stop it.
if more women actually stood up and said, "Shut up," or, "Does that ever work with you?" Or, "Is that how you speak to your mother?" Or, "Is that how you treat your sister?" Because I feel like a lot of the guys that do that, because they've othered the woman, they've objectified her, I don't think that they think that actually back home they have a sister. And how would they feel if someone was doing that to their sister? Or how would they feel if someone was catcalling their mother like that?
Harassment is when someone does something to another person that agitates them with the intention of agitating them.
An unwanted physical touch, even if it is just a squeeze on the leg. And I think anything that's overtly sexually suggestive.
It comes down to a power struggle, more so than what it comes down to being about sex. Catcalling and whistling on the street, or shouting obscenities at a woman, has nothing to do with finding her physically attractive. It's got more to do with asserting power.
It almost makes you feel like you've done something to deserve that kind of treatment.
I've been sworn at, I've been called a fucking dyke.
Feeling harassed at the law firm where I articled.
I knew that there were a series of men who usually catcall. So instead of wearing my pretty dress that I was going to breakfast that day, on the walk to my friend's house, I decided to look as ugly as possible.
I once kissed a girl in a bar And this guy, well, it was more than one guy, came up and was like, do it again, this time touch her breast.
Where my own mother was sexually harassed. And I can think of numerous incidents, actually. Quite horrific incidents.
You know what I mean? If I see just straight people kissing, I'm not going to be like, yeah, do it again, and this time touch his penis.
But certainly no one told them to shut up. And there were other men around.
I had to change my behavior to avoid being catcalled.
All those things that happened to me have made me sometimes a little bit frightened in public. Sometimes I don't always feel safe to hold my girlfriend's hand walking down the street.
So when they're gonna catcall, what else could they do to me? A girl alone on the street.
It's such a little step for a guy, you know, say, hey, sexy, and then, you know, for her to then say something that he finds offensive, for him to be like, the next step is just, it's violence, it's aggression, and it's such a fine line, and I think guys can cross it like this.
Media and advertising, I mean, the sex in our faces every day, and it's mostly sort of gender biased.
I think women are seen as objects a lot more than men, objects to please men, or that they are there for man's pleasure.
How often do you see a naked woman or a half-naked woman on a billboard as opposed to a half-naked man on a billboard? Women are used to sell all kinds of things.
We're buying into the idea of women being these sexualized objects that you can do whatever you want with and can call whatever you want, and they'll kind of take it and look really sexy doing it.
Women are objectified to such a level that sometimes men don't even realize the harm and pain that they cause by harassment, by violently abusing women. And I think that they should start seeing women as people, not as women maybe, because clearly women are just things.
I see girls. I see girls, here, there, and everywhere. Short skirts, long hair, love it when they walk, yeah. I'm on cloud nine, you look so fine, can't wait to make you mine. I kinda like the way you walk past, gotta take a glance. Body shaped like an hourglass, pulling up to my boat, so hot. You work so hard, like the way you work it. I look first, you look back, attracted to the way that you shake that. Yo, I see girls.